Remember when we talked about content creators being approached by goons because of their reporting on Diddy? Well, they went on Banfield and they had a lot more to say. We got to check this one out.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? Goons or private investigators did indeed show up to the front doorsteps or in the back door of certain content creators. One of them actually filmed them, put it on their TikTok. It was absolutely insane. We talked about it at great lengths on my most recent video. So go check that out. It's here on this channel. And I also talked about it and covered it on my main channel, The Pascal Show. But anyway, guys, it's pretty interesting what they have to say because, I mean, I keep wondering, why did this whole thing happen? How did this whole thing go down? And I also am wondering, because now it's become national news, are the private investigators going to stop going up and knocking on people's chamber door? I'm quite curious about that. So we got to check out this video. But before we get into that, check this out. We got some really, really great t-shirts, hoodies, all that stuff. If you can see this, the big Nick energy. All right. Especially some holiday graphic tees and all that. So definitely get yourself down to pascalmerch.com. Check out all this stuff. We got a lot of great stuff, and especially for the holidays. So go check that out. But let's get into this. This is pretty interesting, and it's very telling. Let's rock and roll, shall we?
The view, and thank you so much for being on the show. Samson, let me start with you. This is just such a bizarre, it's such a bizarre encounter. You seemed genuinely afraid. Were you afraid because Diddy has a reputation, and there are stories about Diddy, and people fear Diddy's power and influence? Or were you afraid just because you didn't know who the guys were?
I would have to say a little bit of both. And I think you said it best up top, that they felt like goons. They felt like they were out of like the Goonies or some 80s film. They had the New York accents and everything. And it was terrifying. And that's why I started filming right away, is because something in my gut told me this is not normal and you need to film this interaction in case it got dangerous.
Now, I'm going to be real. It is not normal. This is not something that you get every single day, especially as a content creator. You don't get this. Now, of course, we've heard stories. We've heard horror stories of things like this, but this is not something that you see on the reg. Okay, guys, this is very random and potentially could be very dangerous. Let's be real.
Probably wise. Certainly good to have it and have the evidence of it. Amala, it was a little different for you because they reached you over the phone, but nonetheless, you say you had all these same kinds of questions. What did they want, and what ultimately did you talk to them about?
Yeah, so I got a text on Monday morning from somebody that I used to live with who happens to be my best friend. And she said, there are two men at my door right now. They believed it was my residence, but it was just a place I used to live. So she thought that they were there asking about advertisements and sponsorships for my show because they were very vague in their questioning. So she unfortunately opened the door to these two guys. We ended up being on the phone over speaker talking to one another. And I had the very same reaction that Sam had. I thought something is not right here. They were being very big in what they were asking me. They were sprinkling in mentions of P. Diddy throughout their questioning. And I actually texted my friend, get away from these guys. Unfortunately, she didn't see the message. The conversation continued. And eventually they let out that they are private investigators trying to figure out if I'm being paid to talk about Diddy and his connection to other celebrities.
Now, real quick, before we get into move on and hear what Banfield has to say, let's keep it real. That's kind of creepy. You're asking him over and over again at nauseum, who are you? Who does number two work for? You know what I mean? You're just still wanting to know what the hell is going on here. Why are you going up to my old residence and trying to contact me? Who are you? And why aren't you giving that kind of information right off the rip? That's an issue for real. Because I mean, that just bold-faced looks like harassment. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I said it on the last video covering this situation. To me, this is blatant, passive-aggressive intimidation. This is a soft intimidation tactic. It's making everyone, it slowly seeps in your brain. After you have this encounter with two men showing up at your house, right? Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you start to think, oh my Lord, okay, if they can show up, then anything's possible. They know, or it's a way of them saying, hey, I know exactly where you live. So if you keep talking crazy, you keep talking that mess, we coming after you. That's some scary stuff, y'all. So I'm not surprised that Samson, the TikToker here, actually filed a police report for this, because yeah, I would want to cover my butt and protect my butt as much as possible. These particular content creators, even myself and others, we're not doing anything illegal. We are exercising our First Amendment right. We could talk about whatever the hell we want within the confines of the law, right? But if we're just going off of things that are reported in periodicals, that's on the news, like News Nation, Court TV, Law and Crime, so on and so forth, then why are these content creators getting attacked? It's not like we're spreading rumor or lies. We are talking about what's being reported in the actual news, especially those who, like myself, who rely on documents, legal documents, and we're reading those legal documents live on a show. That's massive, guys. That's a very, very big deal. But, you know, like I said, this is just crazy stuff. And again, I feel bad for these two. And there's been others that have been approached by these two men as well. And they've made videos as well. So these just happen to be the first two that have stepped forward and made content surrounding this whole situation. But let's continue on.
And what did you tell them? Anything?
I told them, absolutely not. I don't get paid to say anything that I say on my channel. And they gave the same offer that they gave Sam and said, had you been paid, we'd love to pay you more to disclose exactly who that was. And they even went on to say that they would pay more than whatever it was I was being paid from the initial entity to share the opposite story. Now, I don't know if they were talking about this in reference to P. Diddy or if another celebrity, maybe in his network, hired them. It was very, very strange.
And Sam, you were nodding as though this was the same offer that you got, meaning if you're being paid, we'd like to pay you to tell us who's paying you, and we'll pay you more to influence, you know, on our behalf instead of whoever might be paying you. Is that right? Is that why you were nodding?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that was what was the whole exchange is so shocking. And people have said, oh, Sam, it looks staged. And that's why I made sure to get the police report, because it is so unbelievable. I mean, and like I said, I was genuinely terrified. You hear, I say, can you please back up? And he's like, well, it's a public street, so the answer is no, which is a very hostile thing to say. And, you know, I went all Karen on him. You know, I'm like, you better back up off me, you know. And it was just, I don't know, you know, I don't know why this happened to me. And I think to Amala, that's the biggest question to us both. And what's terrifying is why us? Why did Diddy single me out? Is it my No Diddy song that is, you know, he hates? You know, you know, I've been doing videos about him and DJ Khaled's kind of relationship. So I just don't know if I maybe rattled his cage, you know, no pun intended.
Well, it's a good question.
It's a mystery.
It's a good question. Amala, do you know what videos you might have posted that drew, you know, their attention to you?
You know, there were several, and we've been really thinking about this and theorizing why these two individuals showed up at my former residence. And I thought maybe it was us linking P. Diddy and his relationships to another celebrity, and maybe another celebrity on the PR front is trying to get ahead of this and see if somebody is funding these narratives. We also thought, since P. Diddy is really focused on how he's going to come off to jurors in his trial, and he's really asking himself the question, can I get a fair trial? Maybe they're going out and investigating influencers, trying to see if somebody's trying to corrupt the narrative or give him extra negative press. And then maybe they can run the story that it's not possible for him to get a fair trial. I mean, fortunately, none of us are being paid. We're covering this because it's actually insane. And what he's done, allegedly, is insane.
Well, now, again, she says this beautifully. Amala just said that, and that's very true. If you really think about it, you know, could he be out here trying to change the narrative? Is he sitting here? Let's not forget, this is a guy who's sitting there festering in a cell with another cellmate. I think it's the guy from Crypto, but I forgot his name, but you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, He's sitting there festering in a cell, just, probably going through all of the possibilities, in his mind. Of course, also, this is his rep that's getting destroyed every single day. But it's by his own doing. It's by his own hand. All the allegations that are coming out, the video that leaked and was exposed from CNN, that hotel video of him attacking Cassie. I mean, the damage is there. The proof is in the pudding, and that damage was done by him. What we are reporting, what all of us are doing, these content creators, we are just reporting the news and what the people are talking about. This is a wild case. Everybody and their mama is talking about this case because it's so bizarre and so wild. And we can't believe how deep this rabbit hole really goes, how deep and dark this rabbit hole really does go. There's no wrongdoing on the parts of these content creators talking about this stuff. So these people should not be going over there trying to see, oh, are you getting paid by some higher entity? No. Ain't nobody getting paid by a higher entity that I know of. And I feel like if it is true, and if they're that easily swayed, then keep an eye on the narratives of people, of content creators that you watch. You never know. Maybe out of nowhere, their story, their approach to Diddy completely changes on a dime. Then that might be a good heads up, a good dead giveaway that maybe these private investigators have something to do with the change of their narrative. But other than that, everybody who's looking at this is doing it out of care and doing it because they give a damn about justice for these particular victims and all that. And these private investigators really are underestimating the power of integrity. Let's not forget that. All these people who are talking about this, they're not changing their narrative or changing their stance on this case unless and only unless there is some smoking gun evidence that shows proof positive of Diddy's innocence. 100%. And do you realize how hard that's going to be? Diddy has a very, very big mountain to climb. And the top of that mountain is his innocence, okay? That he's not guilty. He's still at the very, very bottom of it. In fact, more and more evidence keeps coming out, and he keeps digging himself deeper and deeper into the hole at the base of this doggone mountain. So again, this is going to be very interesting, but these private eyes showing up at the doorsteps of these content creators does not help Diddy's case. Let's not forget, today of all days is a very big day for Diddy. This is allegedly his last and final attempt at getting bail. It's his third, they say third, fourth, fifth, whatever, bail attempt on trying to get out. It's up to the judge to make a decision. But when you have private investigators showing up at content creators' homes, let alone victims or witnesses or tampering with them or intimidating these kinds of people, now you're going after content creators, and those private investigators could possibly be connected to Diddy. That says a lot, guys. And if they're able to present that into this particular hearing this morning or this afternoon, I'm telling you right now, the judge is going to say denied quick and in a hurry. Anyway, guys, that is the video. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think? Do you think that, who do you think, honestly, who do you think is funding these particular private eyes from New York to come out here and start poking their heads into other content creators' businesses? I'm wondering, who do you think? Do you think it's Diddy? Do you think it's another company? Do you think it's another person or not? Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button. We'll be talking very, very soon. Keep your heads on a swivel, everybody, and be careful out there because these streets are getting crazy. We'll talk soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.